you know, but we're gonna start cleaning up like around 2:30. Salam alaikum. We did it. Got the green sheet here. It's gonna be my first event here in jurisdiction that they call Springfield. But we know that this is City land. We got great Aboriginal indigenous people here to Morocco. But today it's called Ask a Green Sheet. So if anybody got any questions, you can ask Green Sheet Cujo Adel. We got him here all the way from Canaanland, what they call Canada. So he made it, long trip.
Long trip.
Went through it to get here, but we appreciate that. You know, little troubles getting into the rooms or whatever, but we're here. You know, we're here. We're here. We're here. They can't stop it. They can't stop it. But the next person that you be hearing speaking be the Green Sheet Cujo Adel. We can't name words. Islam.
As usual, let's just start off with our readings. Our readings to be read every meeting. The Prophet warns all Muslims, governors ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their carding button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Noble Islam. To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Ali. Islam. Islam. So we're here. We're here. Ask a Grand Sheik. So just a quick background. There was pardon the interjection. So Brother Supreme and Amazek that kicked off this whole thing about Ask a Grand Sheik or whatever because of the troubles that Moors been having when they go to the temple and they engage these individuals and then they start finding out that, you know, well, I've been studying for whatever, and then when I talk to these guys, you know what I mean? So it turned into a little scene. So when Brother used to say he wanted to do something, we said, yeah, we'll just go with that. You know, since, yeah. So whatever questions you got, throw them out. If people are online, if you got questions, you can send those to Canaanlandguide@gmail. Canaanlandguide@gmail.com, and we'll get to those questions too. And Islam to all the Moors in the chat. Finding their way back to the to the real Canaanland Moors channel. So we'll just put down any questions. Throw them all up.
I got a question.
Yes,
So, my mother's Irish, my father's Moor. What would that mean?
When we always go back to the descendancy being through the mother, and then we also look at how certain Europeans look at the Moorish movement, right? In order to have a certain standard as to, if it turns out you're on that side, on the European side, then this is the perspective that you would look at it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be the same because of the diversity, right? So we always try to take all the emotional part of it and just deal with that whenever. Like, personal time. You know what I mean? So that way we can pinpoint what direction we're able to go in. So from the sense of the timeline, based on the patriarchy and the matriarchy, it would be classified that you're European, even though you're dark skinned. But then you go to, for example, you go to Delaware Moors, where all of them are European. Like only if you get the book and you go through the book, you see that it's European, saying that they're Moors in Delaware, right? And then they're getting all the rights that supposed to be going to the people who should be saying that they're that, and then the other side of people looking at them like they're impostoring the Moors or whatever. But then that's why we always walk around with our we are all Moors by Nur Majid, so that we're not caught up in that emotional part. That, just like the black guys, because we're black guys, we can't do stuff with the Europeans because they're the enemy. And when it's more Europeans helping them than their own people, right? So being on that side now, so you're even though it's say classified as European, you would look like Asiatic. Yeah, you wouldn't look like a European, even though your mom's a European. You know what I mean? So it's like you can kind of play two sides, like spook that sat by the door. You can play two sides of it, like literally, right? Because you have the people who are going to be subjective just based on appearance, and they're not even thinking about the whole matriarch, patriarch. Oh, I guess he's mixed, or half-breed or whatever, right? Yeah. That's it's just like they say when they say malnutrition, right? The world is malnutrition, not just the people who are classified as, oh, you don't get enough nutrients or whatever. Nobody's getting enough nutrients right now with the stuff that they got out there. You know what I mean? Even the organic, non-GMO, whatever, people aren't getting their full thing, right? So that's the thing. You want to look at the whole pie instead of looking at it like, you know what I mean? So, for example, even though you're European, you're here, Asiatics aren't here. So we want to give honors to the European for stepping up, right?
Because right is right.
Same thing with Brother Latif and Peter Moon and Rick Smith and these people who are Europeans, but they're talking about Moorish history from the perspective of how all the people who are claiming that they're not Moors should be talking about the Moorish tribe. So for example, again, going back to with the examples of upright Europeans for the Moorish movement, right? You would be looking at bringing yourself back into the constitutional fold through naturalization, right? Because of the European part of the situation, right? So and again, if they go by just send the picture in, you look like Asiatic. It's not even gonna, you know what I mean? Like it's not even gonna be something where they're in question. Hey, look at the picture. Whatever. You know what I mean? There could be people even darker than me that might have European mom. But because of that image, it's not even gonna matter. The perception is not even gonna matter. So then why should it matter on the other side where we have a European now? You know what I mean? Like somebody like Latif Bey, you know, who, yeah, I mean, clearly he's European. He can't proclaim his nationality because he already has one already.
Right.
So what's behind that? You know, and then when he did his research, found that he's connected to Albert Pike and whatever like that. So there's a certain level of knowledge.
Like a
That,
onion, so
yeah,
layers.
there's just layers that, you know, eventually you're gonna get there.
It all comes back.
But it's going to go, it's always gonna come back to the fact that regardless of how we look, we have some type of connection to this paradigm called Moors, Aboriginal, Indigenous, whatever. We have some type of tie to it. You know what I mean? So
I can add on.
yeah, more, yeah, for sure.
Because if you check too, all in Europe, if you check all their family crest, it's all Moors.
Yeah. They be honored.
Like they know that we're all, it's amalgamated. Like they know that they're mixed with Moorish blood. You know, like they know that it's not hidden, and that's why I always say the one world order. The Moors did it through bloodline, because we took the whole world is amalgamated now. We're all Moors now because of how we went around the world and
did
the bloodline. We didn't do it through just paperwork or nothing. Like, no, we're gonna target that bloodline, and we're gonna make it where we're all related. One world order now, because not on submission, more of you're my brother. You know what I mean? You're my sister. Like our ancestors amalgamated for centuries. You know what I mean? Like, and I seen that too with when he was saying that what's the brother's name again? He just said his title. Latif go harder than most of the
Moors.
anytime.
The darkest
anytime. The Moors back him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Immediately, because of the most work he do. Latif had a situation where he needed Moors to back him. And we were there immediately. Immediately got him out of his situation. Perfect. You know, no problems. You know what I mean? It's not like we know what it is. The prophet said to uplift fallen humanity. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing, to uplift fallen humanity.
Mission.
Mankind is still part of humanity.
Exactly. You know, and even knowing that is more reason to, you know, because we already know that Southern Asiatic stuff, they ain't trying to hear anything right now.
Yeah.
We put this on some European and they'll ride with it before. So think about that at the park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Some pale quote unquote Muslims in a park. Right? We're just walking by. And then they start yelling out Mussolini.
Yelling, cheering it.
Mussolini. Oh yeah, I saw you sent me the thing. Like, Mussolini, smiling, like cheering. They're on the thing, looking. Everybody.
In a Musalita. Talking about Gomorrah. Call it a Musalita. I've never even heard that. They're cheering it as we're walking by.
I mean, the world's waiting. It's just.
Oh yeah. And that's the
we
babies.
all gotta stand up. Yeah.
So I'm like,
it was the little girl that yelled it out.
that's the amazing thing. You know, if the babies know, of course they are, and they win. Just like you said, they win.
So like I look Spanish because of my mixed color, but like growing up here, we have a high Latino and Spanish community, and trying to explain to them, growing up, I was never white or black. I was moreno.
Yeah.
So having to explain to them, you've already been calling me this the whole time.
Yeah.
They still don't register. So I just, it's a leap that needs to be heard.
It's still the rest. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Some of it, But I told my, he's coming right now. That's how I explained it to him. And he was, like, he said it, I could see him jerk, like, whoa. Like, I was like, yeah, that's it right there. Like, you've been calling me, but damn. And he was like, I was like, yeah. And I was like, and it don't mean black. And he was like, I was like, exactly. Like, exactly. You know what I mean?
Like, you love more.
Yep.
It's there. Cultures and the languages right there.
Right, so with the same thing, you know, Moreno not meaning black or whatever. So we're thinking they're calling us some in their language, what Muslim would, Muslim. Turns out it's Sanskrit for Muslim.
Sanskrit.
Now there's some pale Arabs. And they see us and they just start yelling out, Muslim did that. See if you know. See if, you know, so we turn around, you know, salam. You know?
So the mom had to give it up. She was like, all right, I know my daughter gave it away. Yeah, so now I gotta speak. Daughter gotta speak.
Crazy.
Thing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They were cheering. They were cheering in the part, like, yeah.
They were cheering that, yes. Look, some Muslims.
I mean, they want the work to get done, but like you said, it's about rising all of humanity. We all have to.
Everybody's got work. We can't play that thing of just us getting it anymore. It's not, that's selfish to the highest degree. You know what I mean? That's selfish. We can't even play those ones.
Could I ask another question?
Yeah, sure. More questions. That's what it's about today.
So what do you think about Moors joining the Shriners? Like the whole,
if there are Moors going toward that realm, I would say that they get Brother Abdullah's book first. Moors the Masonry. Go through that first, and then we'll see if we're gonna join. Some shrine. But with regard to the thing, majority of that is AGIs not want to talk about this.
Yeah.
That's why they go join that. So they can have a oath. They can feel like they're part of, you know, something still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because again, when you look at the Moors, it always looks like, you know, what the Moors got. The Moors don't got a hospital like the Shriners. The Moors don't have temples looking like Mos Miriam or whatever. Like, who are you guys? You guys don't have nothing. What do you mean you're an empire and all that? You know? So people get, you know, because that's where people are. Materials, you know, so they want to see something to know that, oh wow, they really got it going on. They got a building or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, once they go on that side, we know that they're down for the oath, they're down for the corruption, they're down for everything. Once they get their little, like we drink with them. Once they get their 11%,
a little cut.
They're good.
They're good.
11%.
That's all they need.
They're good. That's all they need.
I came into this information because my father became a Mason and a Shriner, and I'm like, well, where are we from? He's like, oh, we're Native American. I'm like, well, what's that? So I kept looking deeper, and I'm like, oh, I'm a Moor. And he's like, and I'm like, oh, you don't want to talk now. Oh, energy change. Okay.
Yeah.
And he knows his dad.
Yeah.
He knows it.
Yeah.
Whole energy change.
So I'm like, so what's on your nationality? What do you put?
Right.
Change the whole culture.
Right hand still.
What a God. That is beautiful. I'm not sure if it was from you. I remember one of the teachers talking about it, like if you were born in China, you wouldn't be Chinese. That's been my argument I've been having with everyone.
Yeah.
And it's weird because when
that's the old school.
I don't mean to interrupt. It looks like you dropped your ID.
Thank you.
Keep trying. Just trying to spread the knowledge.
I wasn't even here.
Done after it. That's not the same one you lost. That's the one you said you lost.
No. I thought I had this one. I got this one. But I usually have both. But I have both. This is the one I gave her at Walgreens.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
don't even remember being here. It must have been inside. I must have had, I don't know, in the bag or something. Yeah, it could have been in the North Paper, yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. You want to steal that? Where we at again?
Yeah, what was the question?
Oh yeah, the Native American. So even with that thing, right? Knowing that he's going through the motions or the cane or whatever with regard to Mason, they could only put out these little,
Little.
So where you go? Oh yeah, Native American. Okay, well, yeah, but you're not really telling me anything really.
Can be a native
but,
Chinese.
Yeah, but telling you enough for you to go wherever you went, for you to be here right now.
Have you been to Springfield?
Nope, not this first time. First time. Yeah.
So right near the Shriners Hospital,
Yeah, I can bring you.
the street right next to it is more land.
Yeah.
The street,
Wow. Wow.
just right there.
Right there. Right. So them.
Right off the curb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right there.
So the thing is, why would they put that there? They got lots of streets around here. They got lots of areas, lots of districts, lots of whatever, counties, lots of whatever.
Could have been anything.
Anything, right? But and then that's the European side. And that's not the Prince Hall and those people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
So
when you
is
say
there
the
a
Shrine,
division?
yeah, they're clear cut. Because go back to the same thing that because they want to be black or whatever, they can't get.
Right.
They can't
They're in
really
their own
get.
little box.
Yeah, they're in their own little box in the box. Right. So for example, you can I can't remember what the brother's name was. But there was an elder that was talking about how the only real legitimate nations would be the Prince Hall, because when the Europeans left Europe, they severed their ties with who gave them the charter. So them being over here, right? Them being over here saying that they're
Card? Was that your card?
Yeah,
that was mine.
Yeah.
You know where I found it?
Where was it?
Forest Park.
Really?
It was in Forest Park,
We dropped it.
going down the hill.
Wow. That's crazy. Last night dropped that.
Why did you come? What? And you picked it up there?
I said I found it in Forest
That's
Park, going down the
amazing.
hill.
How did you know I was going to be here though?
I was hiking.
Wow, man, this is crazy. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Good thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I found it going down the hill.
That is amazing. Wow, man.
And you just brought it
Just
here.
brought it
Thank
in.
you, sir.
Appreciate that.
Was that?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Were you hiking? Forest
Yeah,
Park?
yeah, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yes,
Yes,
sir.
Well, that's where I found it. It's in Forest
Oh
Park.
my goodness, that's crazy right there. Wow, man.
You lucked out.
Yeah. Locked in,
More
locked
than
in,
that, I
locked
don't
in.
know what works, but I just happened with this. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Wow. Yo, you got the book?
Yo, that one's right there. But that was it.
The neck hairs.
Yo.
The neck hairs.
Richard, what's yours?
Right.
What's yours?
Right, how would you know that you would be here?
Yo,
Yeah.
how did you know to bring it back here?
Right this time.
I was
Right,
typing.
that's time.
No, that's not the answer I want to hear.
That's divine intervention.
That's good.
Yeah,
Who was that?
Yeah,
I
who was
don't
it?
know who that is.
You gonna say, hey, hey, man, you go out to
I was gonna say, you need to go get his name.
What are you talking about?
Who is
No,
it?
no, there you go, right? You need to go get his name.
Oh, he's gone.
Mhm.
He knows you're gonna be here. There's
Yeah.
eyes watching that.
That was definitely some divine intervention right there.
No such thing as coincidence.
Yo, look at me.
Ain't no such thing as coincidence.
You got it good.
Yo, I
Bumps
don't know what that is.
You're the proper person, like I said, and give you back what's
What
yours.
more you want, boys? All right, let's go home.
Show and prove, just like right. Next lesson.
That was crazy.
Can't get more real than that.
Yeah.
If you want more real than that, I don't know where you got to go somewhere else. Sorry. Can't help you. Can't help you. It's as real as possible.
Biggs, you saw that?
So,
You ain't never forget that like that.
found you the
Wow.
next day.
Right here.
One more 70. So this one, put this one up there.
I got a question after
Yeah,
too.
oh, you show that up now. Show it up.
Yeah, I just want to, just give us a little background for, just because, new people
Yeah.
never, just how'd you come into the information?
Started out probably, the first lecture we saw was Umar Shabazz Bey, We Are the Washita. He has a book called We Are the Washita. And we brought him up to Toronto for a lecture. But we're still in the, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just another lecture, what I mean? Where he was talking about, he must be an Aboriginal indigenous and the Moors, and that was probably the first little sprinkling. Actually, the same individual who I told you sent me the crazy message.
Yeah.
They're the ones who brought me Marsha back.
Oh my goodness. They brought the guy.
2005 or something, 2004 or something.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're not Moors and all that stuff.
But you brought him.
But they brought
But-
Marsha back, the
That's
author of We Are the Washita.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
So that was the first thing, and then there was something that happened with us trying to get a hold of him, and we ended up contacting Brother Alim because we were just making the transition from moving tapes, cassettes, right, video, VHS,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And one of the brothers went to New York and connected with Sa Netter and came back with like truckload.
The whole thing. Yeah.
The crates.
They came back with everything. So we'd just be there just watching stuff, watching. You know what I mean? All those more stuff like that, past, funny hats, and whatever,
Yeah,
like that. Look at all that. You know what I mean? Then we saw the Alim lecture on the shaman lecture that Alim had. Shaman healers. And he's wearing the gray sweater
Mm-hmm.
and the blackboard, right? And he was just going in on some, metaphysics. And that pretty much made us bring him here. And that was the first time he came. He did the lecture, it was a metaphysical lecture. But then at the end, we get into this thing with the Moorish history and the connection that, Canada has to this Moorish paradigm because of the Henry Turner versus United States. The Louisiana Purchase lawsuit, which went into Canada as well when they got the land back, the 68,000 acres or whatever, and what was up into Canada too. So that was at the end of the lecture. We tied that. So we're like,
Wait. Slid that in.
yeah. Okay, yeah. You know what we gotta do? We gotta bring you again. So we need that part now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we brought him again, and this was during the time when we had access to the Marcus Garvey Center out there in Toronto, and it was like a two-level building. It was like a 300 or 500 people lecture hall.
Mm-hmm.
And like little rooms, an office, some classrooms or whatever, and that was probably one of the last lectures we did there because of the impact us being young people trying to present certain information that these elders don't want to even get into metaphysics and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So we basically, said we got to find another way to get this information out. But after we connected with Alim, it pretty much was pretty much solid because he came up here with his plates and all that. He had the Washington plates and all that up here.
I remember that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like he had I think it was like a red Cherokee or something.
with the Washington.
With the Washington. Right? You know what I mean? So we're like, okay, this is something real. And then 2008, met some ones on MySpace. And they were like, yeah, no, well, you know, we can tell you whatever, or you better if you just come check it out or whatever. So yeah, then went to Chicago, connected with those Moors, gave us our charter, gave us everything that we need, you know what I mean, in order for us to you know, be able to spread the word about, you know, this man, Nobujuali, you know, I hear about more science temple, that, you know, yeah. And from 08 to now, that's been it. You know what I mean? Just going hard, just for the fact that we know that what Nobujuali got, this thing spans the globe. Right? This is not some black thing that just stops right here, or some African thing that stops right here.
It's world history.
This is crazy. And then when you get into Rick Smith and all that, it even goes into galactic history.
Yeah,
So I mean, there was a Star Trek episode where they met some Moors or whatever, you know what I mean? Turbines and all of that. You know?
I mean, they
So,
tell us.
Yeah,
Tell us.
yeah. They definitely put it out there, right? So we know what it is. You know what I'm saying?
You mentioned the Washington.
Yeah.
I found out like one of my grandfathers actually was one of the chiefs for Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So like, because after looking through the Native American,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What is the connection with the Washington? Like I heard like those are the first, they might be the first actual people.
Yeah, well, another book reference on First World Order. You get on his website, doctrine.com. The connection is that we are the average indigenous people, right? And that's just what it is, flat out. His name was Henry Turner, but you know, Turner is a corruption of the indigenous, which is Tunica. So Tunica is actually Turner. So you see, there's a lot of Asiatics with that name. You know? The reason why they
The sound alliteration change.
yeah, and the same thing with Washington. Washington turned into Washington. So that's why you don't see Europeans called Washington other than Jordan. It's mainly Asiatics that have Washington. Washington.
Great Washington.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because really indigenous, because everything, once the Europeans tried to pronounce it, it got corrupted. And then they went with what the corrupted name of it is. And then that's how people got lost. You know what I mean? So like even with Washita, they even say that it's even older than that. Ouachita. Right? O-U-I.
Washington things.
Yeah.
Native stories deep.
Right, yeah, in general. But ultimately, from the international perspective, Washita is recognized as the oldest indigenous in the Americas. Because the Washita are saying that they're coming from the Olmecs. And you know the Olmecs been here.
Ancient.
Yeah. Right. So, and then Drew Ali's connection is that Henry Turner is Drew Ali's uncle. So that's how he comes in now to say, well, even though I was born a Cherokee, I'm not Cherokee, I'm Moor. Because we can't do the tribal thing.
Yeah, that's a big.
We can't.
That is the. I say around here that is the biggest issue where auto functions instead of saying Morris.
Right.
Immediately, people always go.
Yeah.
I'm not black. I'm Indian.
Yeah.
Wait, what? You want to describe that?
They're not dead. They're lost in deal.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. What's the difference?
What's the difference? You're dead.
Go in on it. Go in on it. Because, you know,
you want to see if our friend has anything? I'm sure there's an Indian thing there. I don't know if I marked it off.
Because you can get the book, Los Indios.
Yeah.
And it tells you, Los Indian is an English word. So, therefore, if we use the term Native American, Indian is not even a Native American word. They don't even use that. That's not even in their language. That's an English word. And it comes from the Vatican. But it's a term. The term was Los Indios. Because there's no such thing as India. There's no such thing as the Indian.
Yeah.
None of those places.
Yeah.
India didn't even exist in 1492.
Right.
So Columbus couldn't even have that thought that he was lost.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot.
Like, going to India.
Yeah. Like India didn't even exist at that time. That was Hindu. It's Hindu stuff. Like Sindhu. Like they know that. So the thing was the Vatican in Latin, Los Indios, which is the godless ones, the barbarians, the Moors. But they were always trying to degrade us. Los Indios, the godless ones. So when they even say, I was saying it,
infidel.
Right. All of that.
Right.
Yep. The barons and stuff, the robber barons and stuff, like they have every degrading title for the Moors. Black, another degrading title. When you look it up, black means wicked, sinister, deadly, mourning. Los Indios, it's the same thing. The godless, the godless.
Writing system.
It's the same. So when they say the West Indies, I'm West Indian. So you're Maghreb, El Asca, Los Indios. That's you're from the West.
Right.
But in Latin, you're Maghreb, El Asca, Los Indios. That's what you just said. I'm from the West and I'm the godless. Like, that's what it is. In modern terms, I'm Indian. That's modern.
Connotative, yeah.
Yep, and that's modern English.
Etymology is a big thing.
And once you start noting, and everything comes around 1500. Everything just starts getting changed around 1500, 1492. 8 years. Everything is getting changed.
Any other questions? Any questions? I'm sure you got some. Anyone. There's no topic today. Every topic is up for discussion.
And speaking about the whole 1492 change, I guess what you're doing. One of my biggest things that always confused me about the whole Jesus talk, because we literally transformed time, so to say, based around Jesus, BC AD, before Christ, after the new. So, I guess my question would be like, what is your opinion based upon that, given being a Moor and just the whole that everybody, we have all the religions, we have all the so-called backgrounds and beliefs and spirituality and whatnot, but how is it that everybody came upon this one called agreement that this time period is centered around this one so-called person or spirit or whatever you
whatever they perceive
your perception is or your belief is about what Jesus is. Like, we can't agree upon anything as far as religion, spirituality, race, social, economics, and whatever, but there was this, okay, well, we're gonna base this time metric surrounding this one individual. Like, I guess my question was, where did that come from? How does that even, what's your opinion on that?
In 225 AD, there was a conference called the Conference of Nicaea. And at the Conference of Nicaea is where they came up with this concept that, Jesus is going to be the Son of God and, all this stuff that you're talking about in order for them to be able to rewrite history. But not just rewrite it to distort it, but putting themselves into the story. Because if we look at Jesus, he was Asiatic.
Right.
So you have nothing to do with them to be talking that it's something to do with him. And then when you check the annals of history, we found that there were many people classified as Christ, not just him. So how come we don't just go back to one of these other people and call him the Son of God and just put him on the whatever?
And that's my point. Like, where did it? Why?
Yeah.
Him?
It was all part of the European psychology to get themselves in the story. But remember, like they'll never show Jesus as Asiatic. But if you go to the Vatican, they got him as Asiatic or whatever. If you go to the synagogue, the head rabbis or whatever, they know that dark skin or no European Moses and all that stuff. They know it's dark skinned people, right? Let me just read this. Right, so part of Noble Drew Ali coming here and bringing this information to us was for us to be able to be clear with certain concepts, right? Specifically, like what you're talking about, this thing called religion or Christianity or whatever. You know, I mean that there's pre that. You know, you go into there's a book called Iceman Inheritance. And that's just talking about how the European got this psychology that they have. Because of their limited, access to sun and access to information, they had to create a lot of how they start existing until they bumped into us and got some real culture. You know what I mean? So all that is part of that. Them, we'll check the more just walking by right now. Yeah. So I just want to put this out there. This is so for again let's go to this one. So in the book that Noble Drew Ali brought, The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple, this is what the introduction of this is. The genealogy of Jesus with 18 years of the events, life, works, and teachings in India, Europe, and Africa. These events occurred before he was 30 years of age. These secret lessons are for all those who love Jesus and desire to know about his life, works, and teachings. So there was obviously information that was already out that didn't really let everybody know what Jesus was about. Right? Whatever was out was very limited because he's saying, I'm giving him 18 years of his life that he never seen before. Which again goes into the whole thing of how he became, quote unquote, the Christ. And then which is supposed to be a reference point for man to know that he's their reflection. All those trials and tribulations he went through or whatever like that is the same stuff that we're going through right now. Same trials, same tribulations, overcome them, and then you change the enemy. Don't overcome them, then you gotta deal with it. You know what I mean? You're stuck there, right? So he was opening the perspective of Jesus more for us, so that we can get out of that mindset of him being some son of God or whatever like that. But if he's son of God and he's a man, then what's that about me? And then what does that mean about Mary if she brought son of God or whatever here? She must be something. She brought him here. Like and how come we don't have, where's her book at? And all her stuff for us to go study or whatever.
That's what the Pope worship.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. And then
Pope not worship to know Jesus.
Catholic versus Christianity.
Yeah.
They worship the woman.
Yeah.
Mary. They pray all Hail Mary.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Let's do it to Jesus, whatever. No, and again, too, going back to the patriarchy, you know, that's part of the patriarchal infusing itself into, you know what I mean, cultural norms. Now, it's a normal thing for people to think that, you know, the prophets or the whatever are males. Even though all of them have long hair or whatever, all of them have, you know, dresses, they call it, whatever they call it, the men wear that. But they're really looking feminine, really. You know? Yeah, right. So this is why we look at it from the perspective of clearing up the confusion, so that the people can be free. Not oh, because I did some good, now I'm gonna be free.
Right.
No, it's like do the good so the people could be free. Right?
Nobody knows what the people know.
Exactly. The end of time and fulfilling of the prophecy. The Moorish Holy Temple of Science is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa, there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of men, under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We, as a clean and pure nation, descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation. So that was prepared for them to be able to, you know, have what the Asiatics had. So when they saw the Asiatics praying to all types of stuff. Dog head stuff, eagle head stuff, hawk head, whatever, elephants, whatever. Like that, these people got so like we'll never win. If they can say elephants, their God, pray the elephant come tear up all the European stuff, then we have problems. We need a God that we could have a connection to. But remember, they have no connection to any of our gods. Right? They're disconnected from that. All they know is they see, oh wow, you know, they dig up some tomb and they find something. That's that's the most that they know as far as
reference.
Yeah, their reference point. You know what I mean? So once they realize that we're the power, then they get us to believe in their whatever. And then now their stuff is running. They're in the back over here praying the Virgin Mary or whatever. And all these people, like say the mega church, the stadium, whatever, and they got European Jesus up there. Right? And then all that energy is only going to European nations. This is why we throughout saying we're returning the church and Christianity back. Because that's not ours. We got forefathers before that.
Just correcting everybody.
What do we need that for? You know what I mean? That's for Europeans. Let them deal with, you know, Christ and virgins giving birth and all this type of stuff. Let them deal with that. That's not really our realm like that. You know, and then when you go into the metaphysics now, like the behind the veil, now you're talking about, well, forget the man. Jesus is actually the son. And Muhammad is actually the consolations.
Mm-hmm.
And Moses is actually the consolation. And some planet out there is what some other people say. They say there's a God or whatever. They don't talk about anything on earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's just represented in a figure of man so that man can relate. Because if a planet floats down talking to people lose their mind or whatever. You know? So all of it was you know, scattered, and then Noble Juali just brought everything back together by having us just have the right perspective. Hey, you're not even black colored, you're Mormons. Well, Mormons, what the hell is that? And you go research that because you already researched black Negro colored, you already know where that goes. Nowhere else for that to go. But again, when we start, looking at things behind the veil, we start realizing what it is everybody else has, why they're in charge, and what we don't have, why we're in the situation that we're in. That these people are gonna go do whatever that they're gonna do out there, opposed to get their minds right, so that they can have a prosperous life like everybody else. Because our people have adopted European psychology so much that now we're automatically reactionary. And we never think first before we do something. We do it and then after, oh yeah, shouldn't have did that. Now you got 20 years, so you have some time to think about it. You know what I mean? You have some time to think about it now. So yeah. Is there any other questions? Throw those out. Let's put this out quick class. Arizona State Senate, December 10th, 1985. Ralph Milstead, Director, Department of Public Safety. Dear Director Milstead, it has come to my attention that numerous individuals in our state have rescinded all of their contracts with the United States federal government. The state of Arizona and each of its political subdivisions establishing themselves as free men under the organic national constitution may be driving without auto registration, driver's licenses, and any other evidence of contract. Because many law enforcement personnel may be unaware of the contractual nature of auto registration and driver's licenses, it is conceivable that this situation may lead to confrontation between these individuals and law enforcement personnel. I urge you to inform yourself and your personnel about this matter as soon as possible. If you would like to be briefed by someone knowledgeable on this subject, please contact me. In the meantime, in as much as this procedure is entirely appropriate when carried out, I would like to be personally notified of every such instance of confrontation in order that the persons involved and the public officials involved may be apprised of the correct procedure and appropriateness of their actions on the part of each concerned. My office number 255-5261, and I'm requesting to be notified of the names and incidents along with addresses and phone numbers of participants of any confrontations arising from the exercise of a person's freedom, aware of any such confrontations arising from the exercise of a person's freeman status in order to evaluate the outcome of properly rescinded contracts. State Senator Wayne Stump.
That was in 85?
85.
Arizona.
But that means all of them in union should be
Yeah.
put on notice for all of that.
That
Yeah.
should be notice of principal, notice date,
Right.
that all of them don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's big time right there.
That was the other day.
You can use that.
Yeah, 85.
You can use that. You can use it. You ever have any situations, you pull that up.
That's the writ right there.
And it's coming from them.
Yeah,
Which
That's
makes
even
it
more
better.
better.
It's coming from them.
that's certified.
Yep. Any other questions? Well, you said you had lots. So you throw them out. Don't be shy.
Where was that from?
Arizona. It was, Arizona State Senate. A letter from State Senator Wayne Stump, to Department of Public Safety Director, Ralph Milstead.
I got a question, but it's a two-part question.
That's all we do.
So have you, I, of course, heard, but what do you think of the story of Yakub? And is this karma?
Second part of the question, yeah, definitely is karma. Because as soon as you
Fine, I'll break it.
take another individual and violate their rights or whatever, then you have something that's gonna come. Our issue is that we didn't violate an individual. We violated a whole race of people or amalgamated people, whatever we want to call them.
Whole
They're
nother box.
living, yeah, they're living. And we had a part to do in that, especially looking at the destruction that is being caused on the planet.
Still.
That, you know, if they weren't here, wouldn't we have any problems? Well, you know, we have to look at how they come about. And then that's where we get into the Yakub. And it might not be, you know, Yakub, could be some other high scientist or whatever.
Yeah, the allegories.
Could be a bunch of different scientists, and Yakub is just the name that they say for all of them. You know what I mean? The blanket name. You know, so it could be, yeah, it could be an acronym, it could be whatever. But we know that people don't just evolve out of caves. It just doesn't. That's just not. People just don't.
Part of
it
the
just
story.
doesn't work like that. So how they get there is the next part. You know what I mean? And you know, if they are there, you know where they come from. You know, right? And then if it's, you know, if they're talking about running from you know, 50, 60, 70 degree weather or whatever, that, you know, when it gets to 90, 100, they're just dropping out because they can't even deal with it. Then, you know, like where they come from. The majority of the planet is hot. The places where it's cold, it's caves there. Because the people who were there, they would be living in houses or whatever like that. Nobody's not living in a cave
Higher culture.
like that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not, you know, even it's almost like the slave story. And the whole thing with, you know, well, how are they living? Like, what do you mean? There's nothing around there. You can't fish, you can't hunt, right? You know, they do this thing with you know, the Eskimos and whatever, but that's average indigenous people. That's not Europeans.
Right.
Them living in cold stuff and Europeans who aren't
Two different.
that's two different cultures that we're talking about. It's not the same as, oh yeah, well, you know what they did, they killed them and then they wore the whatever, and then yeah, that's indigenous culture. What are they doing? Yeah, like what are they doing over there? They're not doing that. They're not killing no bear to get no fur. You know what I mean? So and then when we you know, again taking out the emotional part of it, and we look at it from that perspective, like, okay, if they are a hybrid species that were created, that it couldn't be Europeans that did, because they
Exist.
right? So, you know, the created people, unfortunately, they weren't created with everything that they should have been created with, which is why they're here doing what they're doing now that we're complaining about. You know, and again, the only way to correct it is get them on the right frequency as far as the information. Because again, we got people like Peter Moon, Rick Smith, Latif Bey, you know what I mean, different Europeans out there who are going harder than Asiatics for some Asiatic whatever. So we know that it could be done. You know what I mean? Just like we know amongst Asiatics that so not everybody's nigger or whatever. Some of us know what's up. You know what I mean?
Comes
You
down to
can't
the
paint us
person.
all with one brush or whatever. Like it ain't, you can't do that. But some of us actually know more than others. You know? But it's, I mean, you know, it's always gonna get into people's emotions, whatever. when you start talking about those things. But that's just what it is. Like you're saying, that's truth. You can't fight it like that. You know? People can want to deny it if they want to do that. You know,
It's not.
yeah, man.
To add on too to the karma, I mean, once they did that too, then when we speak of slavery, we also know that the Moors enslaved Slavics for thousands of years. So that's the other karma, that you can't enslave a people and then think nothing's gonna happen after you have enslaved the people for thousands of years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't blame them for flipping it. You know what I mean? Making it seem like it was like, what else? I always ask the Grand Sheik, but what else do you want them to say?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, we were slaves and we came like I wouldn't say agree to that.
We're slave to the Moors, we didn't know how to do it.
You know,
I'll make up a, just like I said, I'll make up a story.
You gotta make up a
God
story.
and stuff like that.
Gotta make it up.
Shit.
You gotta make it up.
Yeah.
But then once you study and you go, we all know slave comes from Slav. People from Slovenia. And then when you Google Slovenia, there's modern Europeans that show up. It has nothing to do with us at all. And then you go see who enslaved these people, it was Moors.
Yeah.
And you go see they had redemption things to get their people out for hundreds of years. People, popes or monarchs for the Europeans would try to save money.
Yeah, the donation box.
Right, get these captives out of Moorish captivity. Like, and this is this was in like the 1300s that the guy is talking about the saving up the notes, the money to get these captives out of jail, out of Moorish captivity. And he was speaking of it then in the 1300s, of it already continuing for 1,000 years. This was in 1300. Like he's complaining of the 1,000. It's already been 1,000 years. Like you guys still, and it's the 1300s. Moors were still enslaved in the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. We were still enslaved. We were still enslaved. They still was paying tribute to the Moors to the 18th century. That's the karmic debt.
Yeah.
That's the karmic. You're not getting away with enslaving the people. And now you think you were enslaved.
Yeah.
Tough guy. That's how it goes.
That spells almost up, but what are I appreciate the temples, but I get real nervous after watching Black History Month. I see what they did to Malcolm. I see what they did to Martin. And putting yourself out there, like Grand Sheik, that's a very dangerous position to be in. Very powerful, but you're out there and you know their goals. So it's the correct path, but it's dangerous.
Go ahead. Like Abdullah says, you gotta make a choice.
Yeah.
What you wanna do?
Yeah.
You gonna sell out?
You're gonna stay dead or try to be alive?
I'm trying to be alive. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try to be alive rather than stay dead.
You gotta make a choice.
Yeah.
You gotta make a
It's
choice.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like a Moor who climbed the thing for his pop.
25 stories.
The broken hip?
Yeah, broken hip. Say, I'm gonna fall off this thing before.
But he just fractured his hip earlier that day. Climbed it. Got his mom out of the burning building.
No, people won't even make a call. That's powerful.
Yeah. So that's the perspective with this. Either we're all in or
Are you all up? Yeah.
Johnny said, why are you grabbing the flowers? You're not gonna do nothing with it. You might as well just let the thing go. You even playing around with touching stuff.
And these guys, a lot of these guys who did choose the other side, they're oath takers. They're not even worried about something happening to them. They're worried about losing their benefits.
Losing their whatever.
Their kickback. That's their death. They're killing them, that's easy. That's nothing to them. But taking their finance, where they can be materialistic and look at me, I'm the guy or whatever, that's the kill them part. Like I'm not giving them that. They'll tell you that. They're not giving us that. You never hear them say, "Oh, I'm scared for my life, brother." Nah, it's that they scared. They don't never even say it. When Omar goes up there, Omar knows remorse.
Yeah.
He knows remorse. Goes right up there because he's selling books. He knows he's gonna get $5 grand a book in, say black, 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 black. Yeah. He getting paid for it. Abdullah said it the best. Their books gotta sell. They gotta put those books out because those are the things that sell. Black.
That's what's selling.
Lack of knowledge.
Yeah, the folly sells.
Yeah, you're taking advantage of people that don't even know a little bit of basics.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
That's what you know now. It's really just the truth. Once you know it, everybody with it, you good.
Yeah.
But they just continue to cause the confusion, the division.
Kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it ain't even that serious. Just tell the truth. It's really not that serious. As much as we talk about all these stories and stuff, it's like it really is simple.
Yeah.
It really is simple. Even it being like, even what you said, like it being dangerous. To me, you never die anyway.
Yeah.
So what you scared of dying for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you don't die.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You go right back into energy. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, what do you? Once you get to that perspective, I feel like
There's
danger.
As soon as you start.
it's danger
Yeah.
just walking outside
Right,
right now,
right.
even living in the condition we're in now.
Yeah.
So it's like danger.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about that.
Yeah.
Just tell the truth and keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
The danger is the brands we accept. You know what I mean? That's what's putting us in the danger.
Yeah.
That's what keeping us in that
Yeah.
rut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All those
That suit,
labels.
that suit we put on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Soon as we
Suit
put them
mess you
labels
up.
on us, that's the danger. That's what is keeping us, because it's not, nobody's touching us. Like you said, you don't die.
Nah.
But if you take on that brand, that's like a spiritual thing right there. Because it conjures
Everything
you.
is energy.
Right. Because now look, we're taking on something that has nothing to do with us.
And changing the
Right.
frequency. Because everything else is just a little bit to change the energy, you know what I mean? Whether it's positive or negative. At the end of the day, that's what it's gonna come down to.
Right.
It's coming down to energy. You can have cold, you can have war over here, but that don't mean that it's just changing frequency.
Yeah.
That's just minor details in my perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We sun and moon, right? We know that. That's why we already know that all this stuff is an illusion
Yeah.
anyway. It's like
Yep.
it's just about a fight of energy. And it's about keeping a balance in the world. You know what I mean? Because they gotta be a balance. And they gotta be a positive, and they gotta be a negative, and they gotta be a middle.
Right.
But we can't have it like this all the time. And we can't have it like this all the
It
time.
has to be.
It's gotta be like,
Yes.
it's gonna teeter.
Yeah. That's
It's
the
gonna
teeter.
teeter. That's what other people don't understand. They think, oh, something negative is not, it is a positive.
Yeah.
You don't think of it, but it is. It's
But that's
helping
what it
out
is.
the other side.
Right.
Without that negative, you
You
won't have
don't
shit.
have. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
stop
nothing.
trying to act like because a negative is happening,
Right.
that it's like, oh, it's bad. No, you need that.
Yeah.
Once you understand that,
Oh, absolutely.
you know, once you get further into the realm and, you know, the story, you get into the energy facts and the earth, real knowledge, you know, like, to me, that's mine, you know what I mean?
Without the negative, you don't know what the good is. You gotta have that.
You gotta have that balance, you know what I mean? We just can't have it like this, because then it's gonna really be messed up.
Can't just be. How you wouldn't know how to be happy if you didn't get to be sad. You know what I mean? Like you have to go through that.
Right.
So you know how it feels to be happy. I just want to read real quick. The Norwich real quick, page 60. It says, many Hispanics in the United States are in some ways what the Jews used to be, and what claiming one's Jewish heritage might strike a blow at the essentialist ideologies of Anglo-Saxon supremacists. So imagine the surprise that must hit those who find out that they are not Jews, but North African Muslims, the Moors of old. Not even none of that. Not even the Moors.
Yep.
Talking about the so-called Latino community. That's another brand.
Yeah.
Hispanic, Puerto Rican, ain't none of that.
None of that.
None of that.
It don't exist.
None of that. All brands. All brands. We're Moors.
That's it.
Simple. And the name of the book is called We Are All Moors.
That's it.
Me and the Grand Sheik, I think when we did class, we just went in on the title. We didn't even open the book yet. Just the title alone says,
Oh, that's powerful.
you're all one.
Because it gets so much deeper than that. Like, these little stories is good to have and understand, but those are for the people that don't. It's hard for them to overstand what's really going on. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, yeah, I get that, but and this is the truth. Then the energy is there. You start, some people are a little bit they catch on that, and they're like, yeah, I like the stories, but so you talking about that this is the truth, then like the earth energies and all that, and deeper than the stories. It is deeper than them stories. Like, that's just helping people that don't really understand. So they need more stories. They need more things to help them feel confident on the decision they're making and to make sure their frequency is going in the right way.
Think about stories. When you tell that story about that.
Oh yeah, you finally get to hear it.
You gotta put that one out there.
Like, so I was with I was driving with my mans. It was all of us in the car.
You said you say that.
Nah. I'm sorry. I messed up. I was traveling, but we were driving.
Because
driving. You know what I mean? He has his license and all that. So I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't. Hey, that's what he chose to do. He wanted
that contract law.
You ain't shit. So one of my brothers, he was driving and contracting and doing all that. I'm just along for the ride in the conveyance. And the perspective is the police officers or whatever already seen us. We went to go get a Dutch, whatever, but they seen us. They was parked on the opposite side, so they looking at us. But I know that the perspective is black, Spanish.
Yeah.
So I already know that that's what they looking at. Like, okay, we got 3 Hispanics and we got a black driving.
Yeah.
Okay. And we in an old Buick.
Yeah.
So they were Connecticut plates. So you already know they like, what y'all up to? Y'all in Springfield? And it wasn't such a great neighborhood, whatever. So I'm like, okay, so I already know that this is their perspective. This is their job. This is how they look at it. So I was like, yo, you see the boys over there? They're like, yeah. So we drove off. We got the Dutch, we drove off. As soon as we drove off, the house is down the street. And they're flying. I'm talking about literally there's a car. We're passing a car that they almost hit because they're already down the street. They like, woo, 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 try to put on their lights. And I'm like, yo, they coming. I know they coming. But my man's house, I already knew. Because I'm peeping the whole thing. I'm telling my man, yo, they right there. So then, the house right there, he's like, yo, what should I do? I said, yo, just pull into the your driveway slow. Don't do no extra shit. Just pull into your driveway. That's your crib. So you pull in, boom. They come right behind us. They were like, oh, they start, they come to the car. Oh, you got a driver's license? They trying to ask everybody for IDs and stuff. And then they were like, they tried to lie. They straight up lied and said, oh, you guys are speeding. We said, no, y'all was speeding to get here. And they were. They were flying. Yeah. We're like, who was speeding? The store is down the street.
Yeah.
Why would we speed from here to there? Well, we already know people like you gonna keep waiting to get us. So why would we even do that? So he started lying, and then my man in the front seat pulls out his phone, starts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just starting to learn his stuff. So he's like, oh, the camera? Take out the camera on you.
Right.
So he put the camera out. He's like, yo, so y'all not about to infringe my rights or whatever, but he's very hot-headed person. Yeah. So his energy was coming off very aggressively, but you gotta learn how to control that to get your message across. So whatever, he started going in, and so he got him heated till they grabbed the phone. They grabbed the phone off. He's like, oh, you ain't gonna be violating your rights, whatever. He said, get out the car. So they started taking him out the car. Roughly, you already know, because he acted up. He over there. He really is. He ready. Like, he would have fucked him up if they would have had none of them stuff. Like, we was gonna get into a fight right here, but obviously there's a lot of stuff. Right. But anyway, we pulled him out, threw him on the car, took him out. I'm still sitting behind him. Driver's right here. They asking him for his license. He giving it up. Then my boy right here, he gave him his ID. Then they come and ask me for ID. I'm like, nah, I don't got no ID. Like, I'm a Moorish American, all that. He was like, so you don't got no date of birth? I was like, nah, due to like my religion and all that, like I don't got a date of birth. He's like, so where are you born at? I was like, well, the earth. You know what I mean? Like, I was simply telling them stuff that, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's where I was born at. dog, like the earth. Like, you don't got to date it. No, I don't. You know what I mean? What's your address? I said the world. You know what I mean? Like, I gave him simple stuff. Like, you're not going to tell me, you're trying to pinpoint me to somewhere. Nah, I'm the world, brother, because I am the world. I'm part of this world. You don't tell me nothing. But they rookies too. So he's like, all right. I said, oh, I got appellation or whatever, which is like a title, you know what I mean? So I told him, you know, my title, whatever. And then when you're police alarm, he wrote that down. So then I don't got no ID. Supervisor come on scene. Mind you, when the supervisor come on scene, he chilling with one of his boys that he know from back in the day. There's a police officer. He sees us up and down the street on his porch all the time. He says it's all the time. So when he see me, he's like, oh, I know Poppy. I seen him before on the porch. You know what I'm talking about. So he pulling up though with the supervisor. So the supervisor is a Moorish Latin cop. You know, he come out, so he's like, so you don't got ID? I said, nah, but I got appellation from Police Salam Bay. I didn't even give him no time to do anything else. I started just hitting him with stuff. So then he's like, so as you get out the car and you pass through me, I'm just gonna pat your waist. So I said, okay. So as I got out of the car, he pat my waist or whatever. I just put my hand on the thing, you know what I mean? Because I didn't want no smoke with them. Because I already know what they trying to do. So I was just like, all right, boom. He's like, oh, you ain't gotta put your hand up there. I was like, yeah, I just don't want no problem with y'all because y'all already like starting, you know what I mean? Y'all bothering me.
After slamming this
He already slammed my, I didn't even fit it. My boy's in the cruiser already. They took his ass in the cruiser. He's in the cruiser. The other one that was next to me, he gave his ID happily. They told him, yo, just sit on the side. So he did. And then the driver, they took his ass too. But I didn't even get this, the good part. So before they about to take us all out, right? We still in the car. The driver's like, yo, it's my boy. I still fuck with him. He's like, yo, see, come on, man. Like, give him your ID. I'm like, oh, brother, I said, worry about you. I'm worried about me. Like, don't hit me with the. Don't hit me with the, you know, with that whole, you messing up my shit. Oh, nigga, you a grown man, right? You do your shit. Like, come on, don't play with that.
They call us.
No, they don't call us. Yeah, they call us. Yo, get out. They call us. Nah, what are you talking about, yo? Like, they didn't see me. They didn't see me. Yeah, nigga, I'm under the car. They didn't see me. They see you. I'm going under his neck. Get away. And he said, yo, they called us. Come out from London. They called me, so you want to, nah, fuck that. So he's like, yo, you know, like, stop playing. Because I was already, before all this, I was already hitting my boys with this type of knowledge. You know, they skeptical. They like, this nigga see me with the same shit. You trying to do this? I feel you, peace, love, okay. I'm like, no, bro, like, this knowledge is for real. Like, son hit me so hard that I'm like, there's something about this stuff that I know there's truth to it. It just, you can't tell me now. But you know, they skeptical. So he's like, I'm like, no, bro, handle you.
Right.
I got me. And then after the supervisor came over, he took his ass in the thing. Mind you, I still didn't pull out no ID. I ain't have one. I really didn't have one. I just had my money in my pocket. That's it. I ain't had nothing else. So I get out, boom, I put my hands there. So then the Moorish Latin cop, he literally starts walking. He's like this, walking. He's like, yo, peace and love. So he starts walking. He's like, so you're a Moor, huh? But with a smile and all of that, like, oh, you a Moor, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a Moorish American national to be exact. You know what I mean? Boom. He was like, so what's the difference? He tried to give me a question, and I already knew he was trying to confuse me and get me into some type of dialogue. And mind you, I'm still in the beginning of it at this moment with this knowledge. So I was like, all right, I don't want to get myself into anything, to tie myself into anything. So I cut him off fast. As soon as he said that, he was like, so what's the, I said, listen, I'm just exercising my right to be silent and all that, and I don't want to say nothing else. He's like, okay. So then, as everything's going on, there's about seven officers there, and quote unquote, you know, and the European officer, one of them that was there, he's holding his shirt like this, trying to cover his badge or whatever. I'm like, hey, you even covering your badge and everything? Like, that's crazy. And then he's like, oh, no, I'm not covering my badge. He's like, I'm just, you know what I mean? We're gonna find out who you are. So to the point where one of the dudes, he's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna. One of the other Europeans was like, yo, you wanna go to lunch because they ain't really nothing happening. They ain't find no guns, they ain't find no drugs, ain't nothing
Like,
extra. So they're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, we got 8 officers. Now it's starting to look stupid.
Yeah.
You wanna go to lunch? So he's like, the other officer is grilling me. He's like, nah, I'm gonna stay here until we run through FBI or something. There's not even guns in the car. There's not even in the car. Like, what are you
What you looking for?
I mean, in the conveyance.
Yeah.
So what is you looking for? So you all run through FBI. What? The supervisor comes like, oh, they're asking for the. So he's like, oh, can we get a social? He starts talking to the supervisor. Supervisor's like, you can't. He's a Moor.
Yeah.
It's exactly. That's a supervisor. I'm not. Yo, I wish y'all was there because it was that simple. It wasn't even like a big thing because it was that simple. That's how it was. He just told me that. How we gonna run the social? He's a Moor. How? How's that gonna happen? He's like, nah, he's a Moor.
So they didn't watch it.
Nah, so
Definitely watch it.
up. Because I mean, it with me 2 times. I told them to prove it, and it pops up. Yeah. And then they type it, and it pops up. So they already know.
So he tried to do that, whatever, say whatever. Then you know, so then they're like, oh, you know, we're gonna give you they started giving tickets out to anybody in the conveyance. I ain't get no tickets. They ain't have nothing on me. I ain't give no quote unquote corporation name or anything like that. Anything corporate, I was not even with that. So they gave everybody one, and then he goes, yeah, just give him a double ticket because we can't give him one.
Yeah, that's great.
So that was the driver of the car, the one that was trying to tell me, yo, nigga, just give up that. Oh, nigga, hold that then. You know what I mean? Like, take that. Hold that. You can take that extra $46. You know what I mean? Even though after, I still was like, yo, you know, I want to go get my man out. I don't want to leave like that.
Oh, you're not a slave? Yeah. Like, I'm just tired.
So that's what they were doing. So they hit him with another ticket.
Still trying to make him.
Yeah.
Yo, so
Yeah,
then,
man. Hold on.
hold that, boy. So then
I try to tell you.
I've been trying to tell you. This was at least 2 months before I was on my shit. It was a hard. They're not trying to really hear me out. They stuck in like one of my boys. He real stuck into like right. So it's like one of those things.
That's the hold on. That's the slave mentality. You know, the slave that escaped had the plan. Told him, all right, yo, this day we leaving. And it was like, nah, we staying.
Yeah.
He left.
Yeah.
Did his whatever, came back looking like Django.
Yeah.
And everything whipped.
Riding through. Told y'all I was back. I'm up here. You see me? And I try to tell them. So, you know, those are still all my peoples, all my mans right now. I still fuck with them. I go to their crib and everything. You know what I mean? But I felt like we had to go through that together for us to really, you know, for them to change the perspective. Like, yeah, they're my man, but I don't think I was going to be able to be that effective by myself. So it just happened like that. I put that together like, oh, y'all don't want to listen to your boy trying to tell you. Okay,
tell you something.
All right, so let this happen. Yeah, so seeing in action. I was new. I wasn't really like, we were still arguing. Me and him, because we got into, we would argue like, niggas like, we would fight. We were like, nah, there's no fucking way.
It's real though.
Same shit.
We didn't know the words.
We didn't know how to.
Word. When you find out the definition of words, then it was like, damn, we was arguing about the same
shit. And then our emotions. Boy, we didn't know how to control shit about emotions.
I got Google it. I got Google it.
So then, you know, I guess we had to go through that. But so he gave everybody tickets. Everybody started leaving. But before everybody started leaving, the dude that he went to school, is like, he come up real like, because he's trying to stay out the circle that they circled us in. He stood out of the circle. And he's like, then after you see everybody leaving, he the one driving with the supervisor. He comes up to me and said, yo, so what do you study? But like in a low voice, right? Yeah, real low voice. And I noticed that it was in a low voice when he said it. So I'm like, oh, Lord, don't come with this bullshit. So he's like, oh, so what do you study? I said, man, I study everything, man. You know, the library free, man. It's $1. You can be a doctor in 2 seconds. Right? I hit him with some slick shit, you know what I mean? Just so he can hold it. He's like, oh, okay. I just want to know. He was like, yeah, but he already knows.
Yeah, you know what's up.
He played football with him. He see him with his fez up all the time. So you know what's up. So after everybody leave, my boy is like, I told my boy, I said, yo, watch this shit. So I told the supervisor, I said, yo, Supervisor Williams, I said, it was Williams. I said, yo, but what's your name? He was like, oh, it's Officer Williams. And then he tried to hit me with, you see how I gave you my name? I said, yeah, but there's a difference between a name and an appellation, which is like, you know, a title, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, okay, okay. And he was chilling right next to his hands in the seat. Like, I even did that far because I'm like, all right, so y'all can see that shit. Fuck that. And I was nervous. Nigga, I needed a gallon of water. I ain't gonna lie, I was parched. I was super parched. I ain't gonna lie. I was nervous. My leg was like, but I was like, fuck that. I was like, yo, because I've done dumb shit. So I'm like, yo, I could lost my life and I can't do this. Oh, nah, that's. I don't know. Out here, I'm out here doing this. So I said that to him, and everybody after everything, my boys was like, "Yo, this nigga was out here like the YouTube niggas." I'm like, nah, it wasn't even serious. It was just really some shit.
It was pretty serious.
He called me, woke him up. I flew over there.
What? Hold on. The first thing he got there, he's like, he said, no, you shut up. He said, he asked one of my boys, and he's like, yo.
I can't believe him.
He's like, did this thing? And I'm like, yo,
I know they don't know that.
You can say something.
I know you can say I don't know. Right.
You know what I mean? Did he really do that shit? And everybody's like,
yeah.
Just like
that. Really did it. That's not bad. I saw that everybody went to it.
I didn't have a status.
Yo, then the whole week after that, they're like, yo, this is fucking Mufasa right here. And I'm like, yo, shut the fuck up. I said, y'all could have did the same thing.
For real.
But y'all thought that I'm like just on some bullshit and I'm losing my mind. But I knew, I understood what was going on. I mean, I don't blame them for like rejecting them. They're so used to something that it's like, it's okay, it's all right. You know what I mean? You gotta get your own grasping on it and understand it. So I already got that. So I was like, I wasn't even worried about that. But when I did do it, I was like, yeah. You don't see that shit. I'm not tripping. Like, I know
I told y'all.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it is what it was. He came, gave me a hug. He's like, I'm mad. I'm mad you did that. I didn't even do that.
That's what you did.
I'm like, no, I don't know. It just happened.
That's real.
It just flew like that. It just did what it had to do.
That's real. Been waiting for that story, yo.
Yeah, I know. He can tell you that. I hate when Cujo talk about that story. I don't like that shit. I said, why? He said, that's my grand sheet. I was like, oh man. He's like, I don't like this shit. Bring that shit up. Piss me off.
That's so Aries.
Piss me off. I'm talking about, what's the quote-unquote Spanish guy said, quote-unquote, he know what he said? And he like, oh boy. Yeah, you know, he said the thing with the tickets and
yeah, that was a good one. Any other questions since we just had that? Anything back there, sis? You sure? The more couple classes ago, we read this more was sending out emails to different state people in his jurisdiction or whatever. So he sent out What was the other one again? The last one that he sent out, they sent him back something talking about talking something crazy. Talking something crazy.
Some part of what they call Africa over there.
Oh yeah, they found some skull or something, whatever. The only indigenous people are Ethiopians.
Right.
Yeah. So he sent another one now.
He sent him another one?
A different senator. So this is another one now. Or state representative. So this is the other one's replying now. Thank you for reaching out to my office to express your support for issuing a Declaration of Rights of Indigenous Peoples in the state of Wisconsin. Ensuring the rights of those who initially inhabited the land we now call Wisconsin are protected is a priority for me, and I am interested in drafting such a resolution in collaboration with Wisconsin's 12 tribes. I appreciate you taking the time to share this information about the United Nations resolution. As the original stewards of the land we now call Wisconsin, who subsequently had their land stolen from them by European colonists, our state's 12 native tribes, the Bad River Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa, the Forest County, Potawatomi, the Ho-Chunk Nation, the LaCourte Orioles Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa, the Lake du Flambeau Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa, the Wisconsin, the Stockbridge, Muncie Community Band of Mohican Indians, and the Brothertown Nation deserve to have their identities affirmed in peace state legislation, declaring their rights of which they are the primary authors. The Wisconsin State Legislature has the responsibility to promote and celebrate Native American communities and identities wherever possible, and this declaration will make an important step towards accomplishing that mission. Again, thank you for contacting me to voice your support for such a resolution. I welcome the opportunity to draft a declaration of the rights of Indigenous peoples for the state of Wisconsin, given that our 12 Indigenous tribes are at the forefront of the draft. It is a privilege to represent you in the state assembly. I hope you will not hesitate to contact me again if I can be of further assistance. Sheila Stubbs, State Representative, 77th District. Right? No, he's a sovereign citizen and all that. None of that. None of that. Yeah, just put a shout out. Brother Latif said Islam too.
Islam.
Yeah.
Islam, peace and love.
What's up about it?
You know how it goes.
Everything from my ID. That's still bad.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Wow. Yeah, so we went, before y'all came here, craziest thing in the world. It's crazy. Like, I had goosebumps for like 10 minutes. So, like, we went walking yesterday to Forest Park. So, yeah. So we went through the woods or whatever. So I woke up this morning looking for my ID, right? And I was like, I can't find my ID. But it didn't matter, whatever. But I thought that I was gonna have to use it to get the room at the library. So I was a little nervous. So I get to the library, the librarian comes in with my ID. And she was like, oh, did somebody drop this? And I'm like, well, that's mine. So I take my ID. But I'm sitting here, Grant, she going, I'm like, did she get my ID? So I'm like, I was here, but I had my ID in my pocket yesterday. Like, I remember seeing my ID because we needed it for the Walgreens.
Yeah.
So I used it that day. So I'm like, I just had my ID. I just used it at Walgreens. But how she get it? Like, I wasn't here. So I'm thinking all of that. The door opens up.
Yeah. It's crazy. That's the thing.
Oh,
sorry, it was
what's that?
No.
At the long lot. You walking hard too. Late.
Yeah,
Late walk. So I'm waiting till the door opens up. European come in. He was like, who dropped, did somebody drop the ID? And I was like, yeah, that was me. He was like, yeah, I found it. And I'm like, where did you find it? He was like, in the woods. You know, hiking. He found my in-force part. And I'm looking at him like, how did you know I was here?
Yeah.
Like that's the first person I asked him. He gonna talk about hiking. I said, man, I'm looking at him like, I don't know what that means, but you know that wasn't the correct answer for what I just asked. He was like, I was like, but how did you know I was here? You know what I mean? Like he came here. So he comes in, gives me my ID. I'm like, oh, this is crazy.
That is crazy.
Crazy.
Not his face from anywhere?
No, I've never seen this man in my life. Ever. Yeah. Over here.
I was gonna say, he didn't look like he was out hiking.
Right. No. Right. But how did you know I was here?
Yo.
Yeah.
Crazy.
They're gonna tell me hiking.
Question.
No. I lost my ID. We went on the walk through the woods in Forest Park. But when I came here, the librarian gives me the ID that I lost. And I'm thinking, I'm like, how the heck do you have my ID? So I'm like, but I did come here weeks ago. And I'm like, but I already had my ID. I remember using it at the store the other day. So I'm like, how did you get it? So a guy comes in, he's like, yo, did somebody lose their ID? And I was like, yeah, that was me, because the lady already came in and gave it to me. So he comes in to tell us he was the one that found it. And I'm like, how did you find my ID? Where did you find it at? It was in the woods in Forest Park. I was like, how did you, Forest Park is huge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Huge. Found my ID. Brought it here to this event. Forest Park all over here. All the way on the other side.
I know, yeah. And we're talking about that too. Ain't no flyers.
Ain't no flyers out, nothing. Yeah. He had, I'm like,
I must have seen you, but you never seen him.
There's a Masonic temple in Forest Park.
Shit just happened like
yeah, that was the craziest
That's the magic right there.
Yeah.
To me, that'd be the magic.
Yeah.
But how did you, and then came
Really?
here? Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. That was crazy.
That's right.
You're the only guy in this area.
And he didn't want to talk either.
Yeah. In and out. In and out.
He's like, I went hiking. Well, where did you find me? You have a good day. Yeah. This is you? Yeah. And gone.
All right, so we got another email from Councilwoman J. Diaz. Same more, right? It's 50 cc's or whatever. They're starting to get back to it one by one.
He went straight to the ones who said with
all of them. Your government, okay. Mr. Ra, a resolution.
Mr. Ra.
A resolution for the rights of indigenous people will be discussed on August 5th, 2019 at 6 p.m. in City Hall. In order for it to be considered for adoption, a full council to vote will be done on August 13th at 7:30. I would recommend you and your community come to August 5th for discussion and presentation on the 13th. Feel free to call if you have any additional questions. So that's that was in Lancaster. All the books. Yeah, all the my books there are 10. Anything with Google. Yeah.
These two all everything's 10?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Whatever on the table there is 10. Except the CD, which is 20.
You sure? I thought it was 10 too.
Huh?
I got a free copy of that.
So we're at the 1:45 mark, so we still got some time. We got any more questions out there? Any questions, Warren? I know you're
kind of late bloomer right now.
I know we're looking at the word when you pass right there, and Warren saying that Warren Ozzy, that Warren's trying to get in here. He's moving.
He's moving quick.
You got the carpet.
I'm just kind of curious where everybody's from. Who else is Dorchester?
I'm from here.
From Dorchester, you said?
Yeah.
Boston?
Yeah. I think it's that nice.
For real, yeah. Traffic was crazy.
Oh,
Yeah, for real.
It was like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Road trip.
We'll be taking the trip out to Boston. It's and we're doing another trip out there. We did a trip out there like 2-3 months ago. Boston. Oh, yeah, where the whole Boston is in downtown Boston. And do all the sites, museums, and everything.
Oh, when I went last time,
Yeah.
for real.
So we're doing it again. So we're bringing everybody yeah, right there. We was in the little house where the Tea Party thing happened. Literally, the shit was down the damn block. So I don't understand why it went down like that. Literally, it's right down the damn block. And we was inside. He did a tour and everything for us.
Well, I used to overlook that stuff.
I was in there, recording everything. We went to forward bid spot and everything.
For real.
We was all through there.
Funny story, I tried to I get a job doing, the Black History, the Freedom Trail. Hey, what are you talking about? I figured, probably.
Yeah,
At least get that,
yeah.
The slave walking around, at that time, taking the slave, But it makes sense now.
That's true.
Yeah. But even with stuff like that, you might even, because for example, they have there's an organization in Toronto named ACHA, and they deal with the Afrocentric theme or whatever. They created like an underground railroad walk or whatever.
Passage or something.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where they go through the woods and whatever like that. You know what I mean? And then they, it's part of their program, but it could be something that you could do for some type of summer camp or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
One day we're gonna start at 6 a.m. or whatever like that. We're gonna walk through the trail of the whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you hit on, and then you just do it. You can hit up the schools or whatever. You know what I mean? We have the schools come out. You know what I mean? And get contracts to take them on this quote unquote tour. You know what I mean? Yeah. Historical tour.
You ain't take you to Upper Lake Park.
No. We ain't got there yet. Not yet. So by any means necessary, page 38. So the purpose of the organization of Afro-American Unity is to unite everyone in the Western Hemisphere of African descent into one united force. And then, once we are united among ourselves in the Western Hemisphere, we will unite with our brothers on the motherland, on the continent of Africa. So to get right with it, I would like to read you the basic aims and objectives of the Organization of Afro-American Unity, started here in New York, June 1964. The Organization of Afro-American Unity, organized and structured by a cross-section of the Afro-American people living in the United States of America, has been patterned after the letter and spirit of the Organization of African Unity, which was established at Addis Ababa in Ethiopia in May 1963. We, the members of the Organization of Afro-American Unity, gathered together in Harlem, New York, convinced that it is the inalienable right of all of our people to control our own destiny. Conscious of the fact that freedom, equality, justice, and dignity are central objectives of the achievement of the legitimate aspirations of the people of African descent here in the Western Hemisphere, we will endeavor to build a bridge of understanding and create the basis of Afro-American unity. Conscious of our responsibility to harness the natural and human resources of our people for their total advancement and all spheres of human endeavor.
inspired by our common determination to promote understanding among our people and cooperation in all matters pertaining to their survival and advancement, we will support the aspirations of our people for brotherhood and solidarity in a larger unity transcending all organizational differences. Convinced that in order to translate this determination into a dynamic force in the cause of human progress, conditions of peace and security must be established and maintained. And by conditions of peace and security, we mean we have to eliminate the barking of the police dogs, we have to eliminate the police clubs, we have to eliminate the water hoses, we have to eliminate all the things that have become so characteristic of the American so-called dream. These have to be eliminated. When we will be living in a condition of peace and security. We can never have peace and security as long as one black man in this country is being bitten by a police dog. No one in the country has peace and security. Now, just going back again, we, the members of the Organization of Afro-American Unity, gathered together in Harlem, New York, convinced that it is the inalienable right of all of our people to control their own destiny. Conscious of the fact that freedom, equality, and justice and dignity are central objectives for the achievement of the legitimate aspirations of the people of African descent here in the Western Hemisphere, we will endeavor to build a bridge of understanding and create the basis for Afro-American unity. Right, so even with AKA Malcolm X, you're moving towards inalienable rights, freedom, dignity, or whatever like that. You're not complaining about white people did something or whatever like that. You're gonna find what the problem is, and then we fix the problem.
Yeah.
Real basic, simple concepts, right? Everything thrown out the window after they got him out the way. Just like brother said, they killed Malcolm, killed Nod, they killed Khaled, they killed you name them. Just because they were going toward where it is we're realizing that it's at. It's really about dealing with the truth, regardless of how people feel about it, how they're going to react to it, or whatever. This is just what it is. We're at that place now. You know what I mean? Where it's either truth or remain in the state where the Prophet found us. You know what I mean? Islam.
Got another question.
Yeah, more.
So, me being in the situation that I'm in my heritage, would I even be able to nationalize, or how would that process work?
So, with whatever the descent of the mother is, that'll be the nationality, right? So if you're still in contact with her or whatever, then that's what it is. But it's going back to the foundation of that, which again, every time we find out that we're all Mormons, because you know what I mean. You might pull up the family crest of the Moron there,
yeah.
But it's a European name. Are you gonna be in denial of it at that? You know what I mean? That like with you doing your own due diligence and you finding out some connection. You know what I mean? You know, just like Moore found out that it's not Puerto Rican and Spanish and Latin and all that stuff. They can say that stuff, but that's not really what it is, right? Because there's something more there that has to be unearthed, which could be your connection to it. You know what I mean? Something to bring the whole family back into the realization that the right path is where we're going. But always remember that you still have the like what they said in slavery, one drop rule.
That's why I'm at, because I'm like,
yeah, for real.
1/3.
Yeah.
It said that actually has fractions.
Like the actual percentages of it. That's crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't be a nationalization. It would be naturalized into
the proper form. That's why, again, using like people like Latif Bey or whatever as an example, that it's really about just standing up for the truth. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it is. Like, I'm on the square. I'm not you guys' property, right? Because I have allegiance with the Aboriginal Indigenous people. Who you guys are, Moors, and you got your own records to know who I'm talking about. You know what I mean? But you are what your mother is. You know what I mean? Now you might go down the line and find that your mom's, great grandma was Asiatic. And then now European doesn't even have anything to do with anything. No, at that point, once you trace back, you find the Moabite woman in there somewhere, regardless of where it went before or after. Once the Moabites in there, that's where I'm gonna use as the point.
I believe I'd asked another. I don't think she was a Grand Sheik, but she was in Philadelphia. She's close to ties and stuff, but she told me to go to my father's trust because of the bloodline, and I'm like, but that's just confused me a little bit more. It's like you said, through divine and natural law, you are what your mother is.
Right.
So,
but again, the other part of it too is, and the mothers speak on this too, with the whole thing of the after the harem situation with the Moors and European women, and then the sons now being the ones that are actually going to fight to bring the Europeans back in power because they got some ill feelings toward their dad, who made them a bastard or whatever, because he wasn't really about nothing but just going through European women. Like, hey, this is what it is. You know what I mean? Right? But looking at it, like, there's a connection there, not just from that perspective that they were in the harem and they got this type of treatment, so then that means that all the sons are going to be against or whatever. Like, nah, some of the sons might want to put stuff back to where it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Not everybody is against the Moors like that. You know what I mean? And again, we go back again and check. It's really more our people before some Europeans that's against the Moors. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a European at least acknowledge that, oh yeah, the Moors, or oh yeah, I know, or something. It's only our people that's gonna be, I don't know what you're talking about.
right, straight up.
Moors, no way. I'm Christian, baby. I'm Christian. I don't want that. I don't want that. Right? And you're doing that through just gaining knowledge. You know what I mean? That's all it's about, getting knowledge. Because like I'm saying, bro, with Brother Latif, from in a comparison perspective, like, he's doing more stuff than temple people who are claiming that they have certain authority or whatever. And they're really the whatever, like, you know what I mean? They are not on it. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna play any game of, well, oh yeah, he's European, so he's not gonna support because, you know what I mean, or whatever. You know what I mean?
I'm about to rock that out.
Yeah, yo, go ahead.
I'm about to pop that out.
Go ahead. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good ride. Yeah,
Might come through later and get
Yeah, all right. Yeah, for sure.
I need that.
I know that. That's right. Yeah, peace, Lord. Yeah.
Now look up. I gotta look up.
Yeah. And he's on YouTube. He got videos out and stuff like that. And again, it's just peace, man. This is the truth. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get around it. Yeah, you can't get around it. You know what I mean? Like, there's obviously a connection if you're in the room. You know what I mean? If you're connecting with Moors and you're studying this information and it's interesting and you're, revolving with it and it's making sense to you to actually say, yeah, I'm gonna make a transition. Speaking. Yeah, you know what I mean? Once the soul's talking, like, you can't fight it at that point. You know what I mean? You can't fight it at that point. You know what I mean? And you know, there's a good amount of Europeans out there that, you know, want to do the, well, how could I be a Moor or whatever? No, just put the truth out. Like, that's how you be a Moor. You know what I mean? Just tell the truth, you know. Stop playing around like it's not the truth that you know who we are, that we're not these brands and all that. You know what I mean? And you know, and again, he'll fall into the same thing, just like him. You know, he said, forget it, I'm not gonna play the European stock like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know I'm European, but I'm not riding with you guys like that. And they threw him under the bus.
Stands on the square like a Moor.
Yeah.
Like, no, y'all don't have jurisdiction.
I don't have jurisdiction.
The Moors are the guys.
Yeah.
Right. You guys are not the guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he stands on that right there in front of him. Like,
no,
I don't care. No, this Morocco, this their land.
Yeah.
And they give him hell.
Yeah.
Hell.
His own
asylum. This is European. Standing up for the truth. They give him the worst, but they know it's the truth. But Moors who are the Moors still play their
fighting
black, Negro color game all day. European getting taken into the same asylum.
Yeah.
Because he's saying
Right,
that
you say
these guys are the indigenous people. Yeah. They put him in the same asylum.
And he's thrown in there from his own.
Yeah, right.
His own going and telling, hey, he's talking about the Moors and all that stuff. You need to.
That's my problem. Like I tell my brothers, like, y'all Moors. No, we're not. I go to my European family. Oh yeah, I know the Moors. Like, why can't they?
What is this?
What is this?
Yeah. That's the paradox. You know what I mean? That's the paradox right there. Like, it's crazy.
I know you guys are Moors.
Of course.
Yeah. They're like, everyone knows. I'm like, no, it's not us.
Yeah. Everyone but the niggas.
But the ones.
Everyone but the Moors know about the Moors. Okay,
what do you say about those who, you know, Moor just simply means black?
Well, knowing that you know, Ethiops means black and whatever means black and all the stuff that means black is European mindset.
Yeah.
You know, it just lets you know where those people who talk like that are. You know what I mean? That's where their minds are, including Moors. You know what I mean? The Moors, yeah, Moor means black. Oh, yeah, there's a wheelie dude right there. He was just going nuts from over there. Yeah, you know, it's like what brother was saying about the balance. You're gonna have,
right.
You know what I mean? You're gonna people say Moor means Moroccan, some ancient whatever like that, and you have Moor means black, and that's it. Doesn't mean anything else. You know what I mean? And that creates that balance.
Because I asked that because, you know, the video with the model.
Yeah.
She clearly is not. She looks like Asian lady that you go to the so-called Chinese restaurant. Is in there talking. You know, she knows she's a Moor.
Yeah.
You know, and like knows that she's like black. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, and she's been playing the position of, even the ether in my country don't even call themselves black. And they know that. They're Moors. They call themselves mortals. They know that that's not Philippines. That comes from King Philip. They know that land itself is part of the Moroccan Empire. They know that they Moors, but that's why I love that video, because she's clearly looking like modern Asian lady, clowning the black process. She's like dissing it, like, black? Who's black? I mean, this is black, like dissing it, like, but nobody is. Our people don't get that, and then you know we use the yellow concept. You know, it gets they get quiet. They don't even like to argue that because they know, you know, you don't order yellow food, you order Chinese food.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You don't. But our stuff of black food and soul food. Everybody else got a national food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
our stuff
National
sold
dish,
food.
national
Yeah.
whatever. You got
Yeah.
national something. Our people can't figure it out.
I gotta travel the world, and that was one thing. When I was in London, I met some brothers. I'm like, oh, you're black like me. They don't play that white and black stuff anywhere else in the world.
Nowhere.
Nowhere except for
Right
around here.
You know what? We asked
Colonial powers.
Yep, we asked one of those so-called people from the continent that they call Africa. They don't. We know not to even call them black. We don't even. We know that.
We don't call them
We
black.
don't even call them black.
We should call them
We
African.
still don't even get it. We still don't even get it. Like, you know, you don't call them black. Like, you don't. You know, and it doesn't even strike in your mind that you're not calling him black. You know he's Kenyan or something like that. You know that. And we're calling that. But your own to tell you, oh, no, you just nigga. Your own.
That's
You
the
just
part.
your mama a nigga, you a nigga, we always gonna be niggas.
Yeah.
I've heard that from my own. Like, they don't want to hear that Moorish. No. Nope.
Right.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
straight.
the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the whole thing. Responsibility.
Yeah. So actually, that's the next question. With regard to Canaanland Moors membership and the whole thing about the backlash and the criticism from Temple Moors because of us being with RV Bay or Taj or Abdullah or whatever, right? Like we were talking about earlier, the fact that we're dealing with truth, we're gonna already get backlash and all that stuff off the top. Because we're resonating with RV Bay as one of our bases for information, we're gonna get backlash and criticism from people inside the temple. Because they're automatically, like we were saying, the thing with the oath. A lot of the temple's leadership have that thing. I don't know if it's through the lodge or whether it's through the temple Adept chamber, but there's that element of we're up here and then whoever's down here and then we went through the chamber. We have our certificate that says we're the whatever and all that stuff. If they don't have this, that means that if they don't have the badge, that means that they're right. They're playing that game of the club thing. You know what I mean? And you know, that's just what, you know, that would be a sign. You know what I mean? Like, who was it that said it again? It was Ben Miller or somebody. I was saying, when the Temple Moors start talking about, you know, oh, you can't listen, why you those Moors out, whatever, that's how you know that you're on the right track.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how you know. Because they don't want to deal with the fact that they have to be responsible to make sure that the information is getting out. The information has to get out. The information can't be hidden and people come get it when they, you know what I mean? Oh, you're ready now because you did whatever. Okay, now we can give you whatever. It's supposed to go like that.
For example,
give it out.
the people that were standing right here.
Yeah.
You see them? The God peace sign.
Yeah,
Jehovah's Witness, whatever.
Yeah.
But these Temple Moors since 1930 supposed to be doing the same thing. Yeah. You're not, like Grand Sheik said, you're not supposed to be hidden and you come in here and, like, cause we didn't know about no Moor Science Temple. You know, we hear about Moors. First thing we do is want to go Google to see if there's a temple around us. Right. And then we go see, like, okay, what's going on? Yeah, there's been some corruption going on. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of it. Because there was a temple here in Springfield, Massachusetts, over there off of Wilbraham Road. I showed you Grand Sheik. It's a little church area now for Black Baptists, whatever. Come here, get your little meals or whatever. But that was a temple in the 50s. Yeah. In the 50s, it's documented. It's still on the papers because you can go on the Massachusetts website and it'll tell you, yeah, the temple was here, incorporated in 1956. Yeah.
And that was the other thing too, with the responsibility that they realized early that the people weren't ready. So they could do whatever.
You know, they can say whatever. The people don't know. You know what I mean? All they know is what Noble Drew Ali said. They never studied for themselves to be consciously approved to themselves that, oh yeah, I know some stuff. You're not gonna pull no stuff on me about reincarnated and, you know what I mean? Kirkman Bay is the supreme advisor, and Noble Drew Ali never mentioned those words anywhere in any literature. But then he has some 50,000 members or whatever, you know, right? Using the authority, even today, they got people selling charters today. Got people say, "Yo, give me 500, we'll put you through the Arab chamber." Ain't no big deal.
Which is crazy. That's crazy.
You can go through the Arab chamber. You could be Arab tomorrow. Nowadays, because you know everybody wants that what do you call it? Microwave and all that's fast food. Know thyself tomorrow. Know thyself tomorrow. Just nuke it. Just nuke it. And you know yourself tomorrow.
Be out there trying to spread the information.
Oh yeah. More got some Abdullah's paper. Talking more there. We got some papers in the back. You know what I mean? You can take some of those. You know, just to have something, because a lot of people want to get that. You know. Give them something. Eliminate having to stand there for hours, build with somebody, and they don't want nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just give them that quick hit. You know what I mean? Oh, Masonic. Oh, I'm not Mason and all that stuff. No, don't worry, it's nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? Just little things like you might be inspired by some info. You know what I mean? Just make a little flyer. You know what I mean? Bifold or whatever. You know what I mean? Give those stuff up.
Because we have a strong presence of the Nation of Islam and the Hebrew Israelites. They take to the streets here all the time.
Yeah, but remember the second part of it is that that's really the pseudo activity. Really, it's a presence, but they're hustling. You know what I mean? Like they're really trying to sell papers for their stuff. They really try bean pies for their stuff. They're not trying to like really uplift the people and give them information. They're just using that. We do that. Oh yeah, we do that. We got info or whatever like that. But you're leaving with giving them some type of finance to get something that's not even gonna. You know what I mean? They got their paper and they're talking about all types of stuff in there. You know what I mean?
Off the rails.
Yeah, man.
Just to add on, when you were speaking about the temples too, it's not just when they got rid of the prophet, it wasn't just they continued on the same temples. A lot of the temples that was set up got their sign removed and put up Nation of Islam stuff. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff got changed to whatever movement. All these movements down to this day are stemmed from where the prophet started in 1913. If the prophet didn't come with that first, none of this stuff would be existing. Okay, in the book, We Are All Moors, Anwar Majid, on page 80, right? He says, when Farad Muhammad moved to Detroit in 1930, prophet got killed in 1929. He moved to Detroit in 1930 with an estimated 120,000 black people. How? How'd you do that? Where'd you get that 120,000 people from?
Yeah.
2 years later.
A year, a couple months later.
Yeah.
And it's only been a couple months.
Yeah.
It's only been a couple months.
Yeah.
That's to take down the sign and put Nation of Islam up.
Yeah.
And like the Grand Sheik was saying, because the people weren't ready yet, you can tell them anything. They don't know nothing about national principle. We just figured it out in 2019.
Yeah. The only way that they can get all those members is by telling the people that Fard is the prophet.
Right.
Sensationalism.
It's the only way. No way all those people are running with him unless he turned another version of reincarnated Noble Drew Ali.
And all of them were in the temple.
Yeah.
Quran was in the temple.
Yeah.
Elijah was in the temple.
You know what I mean?
That's Elijah Kobe.
Yeah.
It's not no honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah.
That's Elijah
And all of that. Yeah.
No.
None of that.
It's a secret, though. That's what I don't understand. It's not a secret.
It's not a secret.
Yeah.
That is no.
Yeah. But remember too, it's like, you know, it was a secret.
Mm.
It's just that it's out now. So it's like, okay, well, you know, praise Allah that, you know, he's not here. You know what I mean? To have to deal with it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying? But the people who are later, it's the same thing with the people who had no withdrawal transit. Oh, they don't know no better. You tell them whatever, and they'll run with it. You know?
We do it now.
Yeah.
We tell us whatever. We running with it. We don't think for ourselves.
Exactly.
As Noble Drew said he was coming to bring back. Teach the people how to be themselves. Like you gotta think. Or you're gonna get molested.
Yeah.
And that's what's been going on. Has been
Responsibility to think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yep.
That's
Not doing anything from them.
Oh, it's the worst. My perfect is when I was cuckoo for Colos, my mom in my college book when I went to school, my mom put 200 notes in the book and told me, she didn't tell me. She just kept telling me, read that book, I got you. Read that book, I got you. You been reading that book? You been reading that book? And I'm lying, yeah, I'm reading it. You know, reading the back, yeah, it's about da-da-da-da-da-da. So I can just tell her,
Yeah.
You lying, you ain't reading that book. I put $200 in that book. It's been 2 months. And I'm calling her. Why you been sending me? You been reading the book? I'm asking, just send me $10. You ain't reading that book.
200, sitting
Read
there.
that book. I'll send you some money. Yeah, stuff like that. Read that book. I'll send you some money. The money right there.
Money right there.
Because I won't open the book. You won't. I didn't even open it. It was right there. I never
First page.
I never even opened it.
First page.
I never even opened it. She had to tell me. She had to tell me. Like I put $200 in the book.
Flat out.
Flat out. Like you would have notes. But I would have never knew if she didn't tell me because I was struggling. Dumb nigger not reading the book.
Yeah.
Just all I had to do is read the book. If you want to hide it, put it in the book. I'm calling home crying, please. I know I'm gonna read the book. I'm gonna read it. Just get $10. Read the book. Read the book. I'm clicking. Yo, my boy's looking at me. So what happened? I'm telling him to read this damn book.
I'll read those down.
Yeah.
I need $10.
Yeah, I need $10. I can't get in the club. Nothing. All I wanted was 10. I'm in college. I just need 10 to get in the club. That's it.
200. Wait.
Just 200. Wait.
That's a story.
Oh yeah. And then when I didn't need it, that's when she told me. You know, like, did you ever read that book? No. You know, I'm calm now. I'm good. It's club done passed or whatever. Like, I put $200 in that book. I'm like, I grabbed that book. Yeah. Book getting dust on it. And 2 months just collecting in the dorm room, just sitting there. I'm looking at it every time. Yeah, I'm reading it. Look at it. It's still there.
It's there. It's there.
That's like I used to take the money in the back of the car.
Yeah. So you gotta read it. Yep.
For real. There was another question with regard to with the Canaanland membership. So initially, when we first started doing the membership online, we went to the Moors who were already doing that, which was Grand Chief Nature and them. So all we do was just take their form and just change the top of the form, the header. You know what I mean? And then it was just, so when it's asking for, for Moors who aren't in Canaanland, when it's asking for like social and whatever, all that stuff or whatever on the form, we're not using that for anything. That was just on their form. And we just didn't want to go edit anything or whatever. We just did the lazy shit as, fill out whatever. You know what I mean? Like really all we need is appellation, domicile, contact info. Really, like all the other stuff, we don't really need on the form. You know what I mean? Because it's not like we're not going to use that info. Now for people here, we might. For people there, I mean, we might.
Right.
With they might have a situation where they got kidnapped under straw, and they told them free national, and they're trying to pull, we don't know who I am or whatever like that, so we can, you know what I mean, use that that the name that they want in order to be able to dialogue with whoever it is. But yeah. That was like for online questions. Somebody had something in the chat, but I don't know if they're gonna send. Do you think? What is it? What's got the chat moving fast here?
We're back on the regular one.
What's got the chat moving fast?
Got a lot to say.
Yeah. Do you think our Asiatic brothers are here to assist us yet, as the prophet stated? Put that one out to you.
Oh, we got plenty of stories for the brothers from the East trying to help and whatnot. For an example, the store across the street from me, the brothers from the East, when they had just moved in, they had just got, and I went over there with that on my mind. You know, your brothers from the East are always going to be the ones to help you. So I go into the store, they immediately lose it, you know, over the feds, you know, so I introduce myself. So the first time, you know, we just building. Second time I went in there, Brother Yosef, you know, all of that, very excited. And then, I need you to do me a favor. You think you can make a commercial for me? And I'm like, what? Like, for his store, he's asking me to do a commercial. And he introduces me in the commercial. He goes, this is Brother Yusuf from Morocco. You know, like, he knows this is Morocco, right? So he lets me do the commercial. So, and it's crazy, you know, he's like, yeah, act like you're shopping, you know, put some food in the you know, it's on, I'll push it, you know, come to Imperial Super Grocery Store with everything, you know, they got different international foods and everything. And he's just cheating ear to ear, happy, you know. But the thing was, his people at home were watching it, you know, like getting in contact with him, like basically in there, whatever language they like, yo, like, yeah, exactly. Like, you got the vest on, like, what's going on out there? Like, you ran into some more, like, and his brother goes crazy. Like, his brother told me he went back and did his Hajj. He told me the only reason why he went to do his Hajj because you came with that on your head, and it made me want to go do my Hajj. I said, yo, my Hajj is tripping. I never, because I was like, you know, you got to get some esoteric teachings. You know what I mean? Don't be going down there. But he still was like swinging the fence, and it just, they want to do something positive. You know, it reminds me like, oh, they are waking up. You know, and then another one, you know, I love going to the Brothers from the East. I went to go get his bed frame for his bed. And I know that they're not going to take the taxes. I'm not paying any taxes. So I go to Dream Decor, and my Moabites with me. So I can tell the Grand Sheik, it's always, I ask her, and I take the taxes off, and she's like, all right, go ahead. You know what I mean? So, you know, I ask her to take the taxes off, and he goes, you're not, okay, so it's a quote-unquote Puerto Rican at the desk. And I give him my card, and he goes, oh, hold on, I gotta ask the boss, who was the brother from Lebanon. He comes around to the desk. He goes, you got your ID? I was like, yeah. And he was like, I went to give him the ID. He didn't take it. He looked at the guy like grab it, like go ahead, grab it. So he takes my ID, he's holding it. The brother from Lebanon is standing over his shoulder. He's looking at it. He goes, yo, you see that right there? Yeah, it's like on him. You see that right there? When Columbus came here, he saw him and his ancestors here. He said, look, telling them, we learned that in the 2nd grade. Brother from Lebanon, telling them that. I'm looking back at the Moabite. She's cheesing ear to ear, like, yo, what's going on? Like, when Columbus came, his people was the ones that they said, seen. We learned this in the 2nd grade. Then tells the border camp, the quote-unquote Puerto Rican, I can't believe that they make you get citizenship. Told him straight up, like, cause you're a Moor too. Why you gotta get citizenship? Like, told him, like, he's even Moor, but I can't believe you gotta get citizenship. Like, what's wrong with you? He knows he's a Moor. Like, and he's just like, yes, boss. Like, what you want me to push? So I just want to do what you want me to do. And it's like, so asleep. But the brothers from the East, he comes right over. Like, he didn't even look at my ID. He wanted him to see my ID. Yeah, like, I'm just taking the taxes off. I want him to learn something. Like, he already knew I'm taking these off. Same story. I went in again because now my Moabite's mom knows about that. So she calls me. I want you to go do the same thing for me for a free. So I'm like, okay. So I go up there with her husband. So he sees it this time. And so he gets the whole, this guy, he's all fiddly excited. Like he wants to show me his ID because on his ID, he has the Moorish flag too. You know, it's like, so, being very helpful, like to take the tax off was nothing. Like he wanted to give it. Oh yeah. Like he didn't even remember to ring me up. I'm like, yeah, just take the taxes off. He was calling the dude, bring the bed up, just meet me in the back, just about to give me the bed. Like he forgot. He was so excited about the Lord just came in. He said, yo, we see y'all on the internet. You guys are like, we watch y'all videos. I'm like, yo, yeah, this is their brothers from the East. So anytime somebody be like, oh, the brothers from the East, if they do try to act funny, it's because it's probably somebody watching. You know, and I do notice that, like, if I'm in there with them, Brother Yusuf. And if an unconscious person comes in, yo, Brother Yusuf me and watch them on the camera the whole time. And I'm like, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, don't Brother Yusuf me. And like, I come in the store, I'm like, yo, Muhammad, I just want let me get the wraps in the back. Go get it. Go get it. When you get that door open, you see some other idiotic that is not fenced up.
No, go get it.
Right in the front. Right in the front. Cash register, looking at the camera. Just watching, because the camera's there, TV screen, but the cameras is in the store, so he can watch everything you're doing. And he's like, all right, brother, so you're upset. And I'm like, but you watch my people who don't know nothing crazy. You know, but so when they say that, that's probably what it is. You know, it's either probably one of your sleepy brothers in there making it difficult for him to. So what am I doing now? Am I gonna be like, I'm a Brother Yusuf, or I gotta treat the nigger status thing right here? You know what I mean? I'm like, So that's what goes on. You know, that's what a lot of that goes on. You know, that's why Grand Sheik was saying, like, they get a karmic debt because they do play that side too. You know, because they know that we are Moors and this is our land, but they don't say it. They don't go promoting it in like, oh, you know, you really are Moor. You know, no, they profit off of our ignorance. So when they do that, they still have to pay taxes. They still got to get 501c3s. They still got to, for them to even set up their mosques, they got to get permission from colonizer. So that's not de jure. You didn't get that from the Moors. You still in there playing games. Exactly. Exactly. So they, you know, your brothers in the game are buying too. You know,
the world's watching.
Yes.
What's the next move?
Close out question too. Somebody asked in the chat. Do you think the sellouts will get karmic debt?
That's what we're waiting on. We're sitting back like, popcorn. I posted earlier another video. The Moabites judge going to jail. Minority leaders must be unseated at once. At once, she's getting dragged out. I'm like, yes, that's right. It's over. It's all over.
Drag them all. Asiatic, European, doesn't even matter. Drag them all out. Drag them all out.
It's over. Rex said he for it. I was like, yo, she's getting dragged.
Yep.
Judge. This is judge. Getting dragged. That's King Alfred playing right in the flesh.
Good.
It's a good one.
It's not boy. Good play. So we got a couple vendors in the back. We got sis vending some stuff. We got some books and all that. So free up. We got $1.5.
I'm used to it.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, I hate on YouTube.
You stay around here?
Dorchester.
Okay, okay.
I'm out there, I'm in like, to be honest with you, I think I went into like maybe one of the rooms, but at the same time, he was legit. He had plates on his cons, he was moving, but you know what I mean? He was just kind of like, right, so it's like, yeah,
Take a quick picture.
Yeah, we got house work, yeah, we got,
like, I'm here on the phone, like, yeah, I'm trying to get him into the blood.
I just heard it right now. Just people waking up like, no, I'm good. I didn't see it. Like, yo, just wait, man. You're gonna take a picture.
Oh, for real, okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's more by outside.
Or ankle, yeah.
Yo.
I can always adjust it if you want.
Yo, Slime Morris, we did it. Grand Sheik came out here. That's crazy, bugging me out. Morris, I ain't even met before. Here, yo, this little Yusuf, y'all. This the one. That's the one. That's the one. This little Yusuf. I'm glad y'all get to see him. That's my boy right here. Yeah, right? See that group picture popping. We're gonna get against right over there, Grand Sheik. What's up? No, they gotta take a picture. Thanks. I get it. Absolutely.
Find somebody.
Jerry, get back in your seat, please. So we can get ready to go.
Peace and love, Morris. That's love. All right, more. You straight.
You back there.